The question is that the motion be agreed to. David Seymour.
Mr Speaker, I rise on behalf of the ACT Party in support of this bill. And let me just give you a bit of the background to why that is. Mr Speaker, this bill is completely pointless and it also blurs constitutional lines within New Zealand's arrangements in quite a damaging way. But nonetheless, I've decided to support it because I have far better things to do than waste my time persuading my colleagues to vote against a bill that will make no material difference to the operation of this government or this House, but nonetheless does waste an enormous amount of the Labor Party's time. And if you doubt that, Mr Speaker, let me help you with some of the research they might have done if only this was the Labor Party of old, and we'll come to that a little bit later. Mr Speaker, this is an education report, 22nd of January 2015, responding to requests for official information on partnership schools Kura Horua, which says Mr David Seymour will receive official information on partnership schools and he will also receive and sign out Official Information Act requests. Now, you may think this is some sort of secret, but like many of the documents I'm going to show you tonight, Mr Speaker, it is publicly available, and I would love, Mr Speaker, actually, point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order. David
I
Seymour.
seek leave to table this document, which is widely available on the internet.
Oh, I won't be putting that order.
Mr Speaker, I can't even table this document because it's on the freaking internet.
Just in case there's any doubt, I'm not putting that leave. I take it the member is now continuing with his speech and not contesting my ruling on that particular matter.
Speaker, I would never contest your ruling.
Good.
Mr Speaker, I can't table this document in Parliament because it's on the internet but is nonetheless escapes the Labor Party. Mr Speaker, we've been very clear about the process and actually I've already been signing out OIA requests according to a document that has been available on the internet for at least a year. But Mr Speaker, not everybody missed this fact because not only have I been able to sign out Official Information Act requests, I've been doing it. To one, Ben Cunliffe, Researcher, Office of the Leader of the Opposition. Dear Mr Cunliffe, thank you for your email. You asked for, I have considered, and here are the documents. Signed, DB Seymour, i.e. me. So there's an actual OIA request that the Labor Party have already made to my office that we released and I signed out. But it gets better, Mr Speaker. It is not only the Labor Party who have figured that out. Andrew Little should have told these members that. Here is an Official Information Act request from Te Green Party o Aotearoa, which I also signed out, and they have received. So already I am signing out these OIA requests. And then we thought, actually, I'm committed to open and transparent government. So we started proactively releasing documents that pertain to my portfolios. And here they are, Mr Speaker, the documents that I won't try and table these, Mr Speaker, because they're widely available on the internet, thank you. And these are the amount of official information under my portfolio that I have already released. I would stack all of them up, but if I was to do that, I might not be able to see you, Mr Speaker, over the pile of documents. So, QED, this bill is completely unnecessary. There is no public interest in me having the OIA applied to me because we are already highly transparent, already releasing documents proactively, already responding to OIAs, but the Labor Party couldn't quite figure that out, or maybe Andrew Little's office didn't tell them. But, Mr Speaker, there is actually a more serious matter to this bill, is that the Official Information Act was set up to ensure that the executive of government, those with actual official information and decision-making powers, could be held to account by the public. And, Mr Speaker, it won't surprise you that every document that I have that contains official information is copied to the Minister of Education or the Minister of Regulatory Reform, depending upon the portfolio that it pertains to. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't exclusively hold any official information that the public would gain access to. That is why it is an entirely futile bill, but nonetheless breaches the line between executive responsibility on the one hand and the rest of Parliament and civil society on the other. And, Mr. Speaker, some people would say that Adrian Ruafei and this bill are a waste of space. But, Mr. Speaker, I actually think this is quite useful, because once upon a time, the Labor Party was a grand public policy-oriented reforming party. There was a period in the party's history when in 6 short years they introduced the Constitution Act, the State-Owned Enterprises Act, the Reserve Bank Act, the Education Act, the State Sector Act, and so it went on, the Public Finance Act, a party that had bold plans and good ideas for New Zealand and actually shaped this country in a way that no government has sought to change, Labor or National, in the 26 years since. Ruth Dyson can remember this because she was there for much of it, even if she didn't understand all of it. And today, we see a Labor Party so diminished that they are reduced to introducing private members' bills that will have no material effect on the way that New Zealand functions whatsoever. What a tragic day for the Labor Party and this Parliament and for New Zealand. But, Mr. Speaker, to borrow a phrase from that hallowed period in the Labor Party's history, I've been thinking, Mr. Speaker, if we're prepared to breach the basic line between the executive with official information and decision-making power, then why wouldn't we be prepared to breach it a bit further? Because, Mr. Speaker, there's actually many groups in the political arena in whom the public have a great interest in what information they have, who they talk to, what meetings they have. These are all things that are of great interest to the public. And I would say, Mr. Speaker, in the eyes of the public, there's not a big difference between members of the executive and members of the opposition. So, Mr. Speaker, if the leader of the opposition has access to a Crown car, then I think there might actually be some interest in being able to make him subject to the OIA. But what about all MPs? Who do they talk to? Who's influencing them? They have decision-making power in this Parliament. Now that we've breached the difference between the executive and the Parliament, why not go the whole way? But, Mr. Speaker, why stop there? What about yourself, Mr. Speaker? You have influence in this House.
Don't bring me into this debate.
OK, Mr. Speaker, I will not bring you into this debate, but the point is made. What about the Parliamentary Press Gallery? They can set the agenda, they can influence public opinion. Who influences them, and should they not be subject to the Official Information Act? So, Mr. Speaker, I've been thinking, now that the Labor Party have pointlessly breached the division between the executive with official information and decision-making power, I think we might just, how's it go, be hung for a sheep as a lamb. And in the committee stage of this bill, which I'm looking forward to because I'm voting for second reading, I'm looking forward in the committee stage to moving a number of amendments to make this bill apply to a wide range of people in Wellington, because if the Labor Party thinks there's a point in applying it to parliamentary under-secretaries, then why not parliamentary private secretaries? Why not leaders of the opposition? Why not members of Parliament? Why not the Parliamentary Press Gallery, who, after all, have access to land in the gallery? Why don't we just burn the whole thing down, Mr. Speaker? I'm supporting this bill because it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to show us what a silly and diminished little force Adrian Ruafei and the Labor Party are, how they quibble over such tiny matters when they used to be such a grand reforming party. I'm going to enjoy every ounce of the remaining debate on this bill, Mr. Speaker. It's a pity that the Labor Party are wasting the House's time, but it's a wonderful thing they're wasting their own time, because if they got serious again, they might actually do some real damage. Mr. Speaker, I support this bill wholeheartedly. Thank you very much.